The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'audience de la Cour pénale internationale est ouverte. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. Court officer, please announce the case.
Bonjour.
The court officer, good morning. Situation in the Republic of Kenya. Case. The prosecutor versus William Samuel Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang. Case number ICC 0109-0111. We are in public session.
Appearances, I see, remain the same. Mr. Garcia.
Good morning, Your Honors. Yes, indeed, they do remain the same.
Mr. Hooper.
The appearances remain the same. The Chamber will, of course, note that Mr. Ruto is back and with us today.
That is noted. Then Mr. Ruto is back with us.
Mr. President, my team is different today. Absent today is Mr. Koech, who will join us a little later, and Judy Myongi. Dr. Caroline Buthman, who passed her exams yesterday, has also gone to New York for her graduation and should join us shortly thereafter. Thank you, Mr. President. And your
Looks like there's a lot of graduation happening on your side.
That's true, Mr. President.
Mr. Director Singh.
Mr. President, we remain the same. Thank you.
And congratulations to Ms. Bosman. Mr. Sang, Mr. Kinkatwa, we have a decision on your request. We will announce, I will read it out now. Yesterday, the defense for Mr. Sang requested the excusal of Mr. Sang from presence at trial on the 1st of November 2013. The request is for the purpose of attending his daughter's graduation. The graduation had been planned for the period around the 7th of November 2013, but was rescheduled. Mr. Sang fears that if he does not attend, the daughter will not be able to understand why. The prosecution objects to the request, arguing that the limits of discretion to grant excusal, as indicated in the Appeals Chamber's recent judgment, do not allow for excusal to attend family occasions. The decision of the Chamber is by majority. The majority recalls that among the limitations to the trial chamber's discretion, as indicated by the Appeals Chamber, the absence of the accused can only take place in exceptional circumstances, and the possibility of alternative measures must have been considered, including but not limited to changes to the trial schedule or a short adjournment of the trial. The majority of the Chamber, Judge Ebo Suji dissenting, is of the view that while the occasion in relation to which Mr. Sang requested to be absent is of importance to him and his family, it cannot be regarded as an exceptional circumstance warranting excusal. The majority notes that a witness who is currently testifying and is likely to continue on the 1st of November 2013 has given evidence in chief which is of direct relevance to Mr. Sang's alleged acts and conduct. The majority further notes that no alternative measures can be adopted to facilitate Mr. Sang's absence. In particular, the testimonies of witnesses 268 and 423 need to be completed no later than the 8th of November. It is thus not possible to adjourn the trial at this point. I concur in that particular finding. For these reasons, the Chamber by majority rejects the request of Mr. Sang. I dissent from the majority decision that rejected the request. In my own view, the request should be granted. Justice may be blind, but it is blind for a purpose. At any rate, it always had a heart that cares for the interests of small children. The request is to permit Mr. Sang to keep his promise to his 6-year-old daughter, a promise to be there for her graduation. That promise was made at a time when Mr. Sang thought that the case would be in a scheduled adjournment, but the school changed the graduation date. That, to me, is an exceptional circumstance. In my own view, exceptional in the sense of an exception rather than the rule. It has to keep in mind that Mr. Sang is not a convict. He is an accused person that enjoys the presumption of innocence. He has always respected the schedule of the court and been present when required. In the end, the decision of the chamber by majority is that Mr. Sang is not excused. That is the ruling of the chamber.
Mr. President, may we express gratitude at the consideration that the chamber has given to our application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kinkatwa. We'll now bring down the blinds and invite the witness back into the courtroom.
Court officer, we are in public session.
Thank you very much. Witness, welcome back.
Thank you.
The prosecutor will continue his examination in chief of you. Mr. Garcia, are we to remain in the public session?
Your Honors, I think the procedure yesterday was public session just to hear the recording, and afterwards for the translation that the witness would provide would be in private session.
Thank you. And you have 15 minutes, remember, to complete.
Indeed, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
Now, Mr. Witness, I'd like to show you some excerpts from a video, and afterwards I'm going to ask you some questions. So I'd ask you to take your time and look at the excerpts that we're going to be showing you. Thank you. Now, Mr. Witness, in this last excerpt that you've seen, do you recognize the voice of the person that's speaking?
All right. 1 second. Can we? Is it?
We can go into private session.
No, but if you can do this in public, it's better to do it. But if you feel it's safer to do it in a private session, then we will.
I prefer that we do it in private session, just to be cautious.
All right, let's go into private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
The court officer, we are in public session.
Thank you. Prosecutor, do we have transcripts?
Yes, indeed, there is a transcript and a translation. And if the court is minded to admit this video into evidence, then obviously we'll be tendering those at the same time.
I was just wondering if we do. I'm not yet asking for anything or prompting
I understand, Your Honor.
to be admitted.
It's just that with the time limitations, I'm going through it in a little more efficient manner.
All right. Okay, then we will proceed.
And we can ask this question in public. Mr. Witness, can you tell us what is the location that we saw in that excerpt?
Kapsabet.
What place exactly in Kapsabet?
The stadium, Kipchoge Keino Stadium.
Okay, just so it'd be clear, it's the Kipchoge Keino Stadium. Thank you. Now we're going to show you another excerpt.
Hiyo haki, hatutoki hapa bila hiyo haki. Hiyo ndio jambo la kwanza. Jambo la pili, naomba ya kwamba makansulas wateuliwa na wale ambao walishinda lakini walikuwa makansulas pamoja na a few opinion leaders, mtaenda kando hapo. Kuna mambo mawili tunataka tuseme. Ya tatu, kuna wazee wawili watatu tunataka kuwatuma wamlete DC na OCPD ama mkubwa wa polisi. Kwa hivyo wakati huu sikizeni.
I'd ask, Your Honor, that we move into private session for a minute.
Private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
The court officer, we are in public session.
Please proceed.
Wananchi, leo ni lazima tuhakikishe kuwa tunatikisha kipagi na luzi mpaka wasikia kweli mpigane. Kuna wanaume, kuna wanaume, kuna wanaume. Kuwa haki yetu sisi tukiwa viongozi. Na Wakalenjin ilianzia Kisumu kwa wazazi wetu walipokuwa wakifanya biashara zamani za kale. Sasa asubuhi leo tusipate mtu mmoja ambaye anaweza kutenganisha sisi. Twende pale nyumbani na tuhakikishe kuwa adui yetu ni mmoja, adui yetu ni Kikuyu, lakini sisi wote ni kabila moja, ni damu moja, na hiyo damu yetu ni ile ilianza kwa wazazi wetu pale Kisumu. Asanteni sana, na tutapambana, tutapambana na tutapambana. Hata kama itamaanisha wanaume kutolewa hapa kwenda kupigana, tutapigana na kuhakikisha tutaweka mpaka Mount Kenya kwa mlima juu. Sisi ni ndume. Asanteni sana, lakini ile kitu tunaomba ni hao wawezi waturudishie haki yetu, waweke Mr. Raila awe president, alafu kazi iendelee. Asanteni sana.
If you need more time, witness, to keep reviewing, you can let me know.
I'm through.
Now, Mr. Witness, from what you've heard and what you've read in the document, the translation, does it correspond to what you've heard in the video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Witness.
And, prosecutor, can you restate that, the lines again?
Yes. Indeed, the timestamp.
No, lines.
The lines are it's page 17, so that's 00800082, and it's line 555 to line 589.
And you say that's between timestamp what?
The timestamp is 2856 to 3020, Your Honor.
All right, that is what appears on the transcript. So I take it that corresponds with the timestamp on the video.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. The question had been raised, and it is legitimate. So we have. Is this all one transaction? All these videos have been seeing? All these clips, did they all occur in the same event?
Yes, from our understanding, Your Honor, they did occur on the same event at Kipchoge Keino Stadium.
And the date is what, again? Do we have an idea? I forget.
I think the witness mentioned early January 2008.
Yes, we understand it's the 3rd of January, and we're content to work with that date.
All right.
And just for clarity, the video is of events leading up to the demonstration and a little afterwards, and all on the same day.
Your Honors, I will ask the question to the witness, and I think he's best placed to describe to us what he thinks about the date of the video, from what the people are saying. And
well, he wasn't there,
happened.
so I don't see how he can possibly help us with that.
Your Honor, the witness was in the region at the time, and there are certain indicia that come from the video that could help the witness date it, and he's seen the video once already before.
Well, we will ask the witness if he can assist. If not, we'll leave it at that.
Mr. President, could the same question be put to the witness as to whether he can confirm that the contents of this video are events of the same day?
Mr. Garcia, please proceed. taking into account Mr. Kinkatwa's intervention.
We'll be playing for the witness timestamp 3426 to 3450, and the witness can follow on the translation, the document before him. It's at line 721.
Before we do that, would you be asking witness, as you've done before, to identify the speaker, or would you prefer to ask that question, if you are planning to ask it, in private session?
Yes, I will be asking the witness to identify the speaker and ask him specifically what is the speaker saying, and that should be done in private session, that portion.
Well, why don't we go into private session now and get it over with?
Yes, indeed.
Nous sommes en audience publique.
The court officer, we are in public session.
Thank you.
Kwa hii vita ya wizi ya kupaki tumemata taiga moja. Harambee! ODM! ODM! Chungwa! Raila wapi? Raila wapi? Ruto ni mtume, Museme ni mtume. Kuleta kazi ambayo alifanya. Wangapi walienda Ruto akijaribu kabisa tuchi.
Now, Mr. Witness, first question. The person that you saw in that extract, can you identify him for the court?
Former councillor of Chepkumia. I don't know the names.
Can you tell us what party he was affiliated to at that time?
ODM.
And can you tell the court, there's a translation in front of you, can you just take a look at it, if you haven't already? It's page 22, and it's line 722, all the way to line 756. Please take a look at that translation and tell the court if what you've heard is captured there completely.
I have an issue with line 735.
All right, let's first of all play the whole video again, because I'm not sure that has been done. For the segments that the prosecutor has indicated, let us play the video that's from timestamp 3426, you said?
3426 to 3450, Your Honor.
All right, let's play the video, roll the tape to that in that segment, and then we will do the usual exercise.
Kwa hii vita ya wizi ya kupaki tumemata taiga moja. Harambee! ODM! ODM! Chungwa! Raila wapi? Raila wapi? Ruto ni mtume, Museme ni mtume. Kuleta kazi ambayo alifanya. Wangapi walienda Ruto?
Is that it?
That is the extent of the extract, Your Honor.
Well, it was only half the extract that was indicated.
It seemed to me too abrupt to be the whole thing, but if you think that is the case...
It is the extract that we played initially, Your Honor.
But does it run all the way to timestamp, the timestamp you indicated?
Yes, Your Honor, it runs to...
Now, Your Honour, that ran only to line 735.
It runs to, yes, indeed, it runs to 73...
So it needs to go on. If it's
737. I'm sorry, Your Honor, that was my mistake. I had confused the timestamps, but indeed it runs until 737, and that's 3454. We played until 3450.
Well, I'm a bit confused because we were going to go from 721 till 754, and we're only halfway. At 7:35, it may assist if, from time to time, when we do this exercise, if there is a particular correction that we note, if we mention it. Otherwise, it means coming back to all this in closed session for a word or two. But we dispute the word profit. It's been mistranslated, and should be nduma, which is an ox, and not an apostle, which is mtume, I'm told. These aren't linguistic skills I have. They're on information I have.
There is certainly a significant difference between the two. With prosecutor, do you have any difficulty with
Not at all. Running, honestly, Your Honor, the relevant part for us is 3428 to 3450, and I think that the witness himself was going to point out this question of this word that is at issue. And
All
was
right.
gonna offer
Why
to us
don't
an
we
explanation.
let's listen. Witness, you've on your transcript. Look at line 735. Do you see it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Says Ruto is a prophet. Say he's a prophet, something like that. The defense are saying the word prophet is not what appears in the language of the video. It is an ox. So watch out for it and then tell us later whether they're right or wrong. We will continue.
We're going to replay it, Your Honor, for the witness so he can listen to it carefully.
Kwa hii vita ya wizi ya Ruto tumemaliza dakika moja. Harambee! ODM! ODM! Chungwa! Raila wapi? Raila wapi? Ruto ni mtume, mseme ni mtume. Ndio kazi ambayo alifanya. Wangapi waliona Ruto akijaribu kabisa tu chini kwa sababu kipimo daktari akapima yeye akaona yeye anatanganya wakati pombe ilikuwa imeisha. Kimwili ni mwizi. Huyo mtu asituputu kupita hata Kapsabe. Sisi tumekasirika kwa Chepumia kwa sababu tulipiga kura 100%. Tukichua Raila atakuwa president wetu. Huyo mtu inafaa afungwe, anyongwe. Hata kibaki inafaa achukuliwe huko Tehek mahali wa nini wenye wanafunga hawa kama akina wali walifungia Saddam. Achukuliwe huko. Sisi tukiwa wanariadha tumekataa na tunaendelea kukataa. Mnaniunga mkono.
Now, Mr. Witness, you've had a chance to listen to it, and the timestamps we played have been 3426 to 3548. Now, are you able to tell us, Mr. Witness, if the translation that you've read corresponds to what you've heard in the extract?
Your Honor, do I answer that in public?
Well, let's go into private session.
All rise. Veuillez vous lever. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. Court officer, you will be registering the exhibits that were indicated last before we adjourned, and the prosecutor also, the PIS. Have you tendered that?
Indeed, Your Honor, I just spoke to Mr. Ruhasby for the after the break, and he will be introducing that into evidence as well.
All right. Mr. Rojas, please proceed.
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following documents referenced as follows: KNOTP 0026 4796, confidential, will be given the EVD number EVDT OTP 0024, prosecution exhibit number 24. Document number KEN OTP 00800029, transcript, confidential document, will be given the EVD number EVDT OTP 0025, prosecution exhibit number 25. Document KNOTP 00800064, confidential. English transcript will be identified as EVDT OTP 0026, prosecution exhibit number 26. Document KEN OTP 0064 0366, confidential, will be identified as EVDT 0TP 0026, prosecution exhibit number 27. Document KN OTP 0064 0369, confidential, will be marked as EVDT OTP 00028, prosecution exhibit number 28. And the PIS form presented through this witness, witness 268, will be marked as KEN PIS 00010012 and has 5 pages. It is also confidential. And we're in public session, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Witness, the prosecutor has completed his examination in chief of you. The defense counsel will now begin their cross-examination. We will begin with, as you probably heard in the course of the discussions, Mr. Hooper will go first, and then after him, Mr. Keegan Katwa. To refresh my advice to you earlier, just listen carefully to the questions of counsel, understand it, and answer as briefly as you can. And when it's always better to be brief with your answers and to the point. Where the answer is amenable to a yes or no, it is preferable to do that. Say yes or no. If counsel has a follow-up question to your yes or your no, then let them ask you the question, and we take it in that way. This is particularly important in the testimony of a protected witness when we're in a public session, because counsel on both sides know the need to keep your identity without revealing it to the public, and they frame their questions in a manner, in a way that preserves your identity in the answer. So, Mr. Hooper, the witness is yours.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
I'm going to pass you a bundle which will be referred to from time to time. It's a bundle we have, less some documents, but a majority of documents which the Chamber have had distributed to it and other parties. So let me share that with you. And it just says witness on the front of it. All right. Now, don't trouble yourself with its contents. We'll bring you to certain parts of that bundle from time to time, but it's useful, of course, that you have something clearly in front of you. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to help me with is some geography. As someone, obviously, who lives in Kenya and has that advantage over many of us, I'm going to ask you to help me in terms of certain areas of Kenya. And I want to start, if I may, with the map that appears on tab 1. And if it can be brought up on the screen, it's KEN D09 0024 0001.
Mr. Hooper, I believe I do not need to remind you of this, but we're in the public session,
yes.
You know that.
Yes, indeed, but I'm talking really of a general area, and we're not going to be talking about the specifics of...
It's a general reminder I was given.
Yes, indeed, and I reassure the witness of the context that we're in. So we're in open session, Mr. Witness, so bear that in mind, as I know you will. Now, you'll probably see on the screen in front of you, and in colour, Mr. Witness, if you look at the screen in front of you, you'll find, as we go along, that as far as maps are concerned, because the screen version is in colour, it may be easier to look at. Maybe the names might be easier to read on the printed version. But looking at that, we see a section of the Rift Valley, and in particular we see Eldoret indicated. Have you found Eldoret there? Now, the Rift Valley at the time was Rift Valley Province, one of 7 provinces in Kenya. Is that right?
Yes.
And the Rift Valley Province itself was subdivided into 18 districts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
President, would the witness be reminded of the gap rule for the benefit of the interpreters?
Constitutes the largest and the most populous of the provinces in Kenya, with a population in 1999, when the last census was carried out, of about approximately 8,700,000 people. Would you agree with that as an approximation?
Two questions, Counsel.
I'll start again. Rift Valley Province, as it was, is the largest and most highly populated of the provinces in Kenya. Is that? Would you accept that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when I give you figures of populations, I don't expect you to have them all in your head, but if you can agree with the approximation, it will assist. And my figures are taken from the 1999 census. So, of course, by 2007, 8 years on, given the dramatic population growth in Kenya, it would be obviously largely increased. But approximately about 8.5 million people lived in the Rift Valley. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
As of what time, Mr. Rupa?
This would be at the time of the 1999 census.
Oh, right. And witness, that is what you were responding to when you said yes. Is that correct?
Of course, in estimates.
All right, about 1999. Okay.
Just so we have a general picture. I don't expect you to have all these figures in your head. And it would be fair to say that in the subsequent years between 1999 and 2007, that number would have increased due to the population growth. Is that right?
Yes.
And Kenya did have, one might even say suffered from, a very high population growth. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I want to come to Eldoret, if I may. Eldoret is part of Uasin Gishu district and is indeed the capital of Uasin Gishu district. Is that right?
Yes.
It's a substantial urban area. Is that right?
Yes.
And it, I'm told from someone who's just looked it up, 323 kilometres from Nairobi. Would you accept that?
Yes.
Can we come now to a place called Kapsabet? And again, if we look at our map, and we go a few centimetres on the map southwest of Eldoret, we come to Kapsabet. Have you found that on the map?
Yes.
I understand that place, Kapsabet, is approximately 40 kilometres southwest of Eldoret. Would you accept that?
Yes.
And Kapsabet is part of Nandi district. Is that right?
Yes.
And Nandi district, again going by the 1999 census figures, is said to have had a population then of just under 600,000 people. Again, would you accept that as an approximate figure?
Yes.
And the capital is indeed Kapsabet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Kapsabet had the status of a municipality in 2007. Is that correct?
Yes.
And again, 5 seconds. And again, dealing with the 1999 census figures, we have a population for Kapsabet municipality of 64,000, of which just under 18,000 was the urban population. So we have a population of 18,000 in the town, and in the surrounding countryside, the rest amounting in total to 64,000.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Counsel, sorry to butt into your cross-examination, but Eldoret is a city and Nandi is a district. Is there any relationship between the two?
Nandi district is an administrative area in which Kapsabet a municipality.
Yeah, yes. But is Eldoret part of the Nandi district?
No, not at all.
Oh, right.
I make that clear that, in fact, Eldoret is part of Uasin Gishu district.
Oh, Uasin Gishu. Thank you.
So that's the framework there.
Thank you.
So we have quite different administrative areas. And indeed, very different places. Eldoret, an urban area, and Nandi district, very much a rural and agricultural area. There's a distinction,
Yes.
isn't there? Thank you. And can I just clarify one thing that may confuse us, because we're talking here of districts in 2007, but the Constitution was changed in 2010 by referendum, and as a consequence, today, districts are no longer. They've been abolished, and they've been replaced by counties. Is that right?
Yes.
So today, in Kenya, there's 47 counties replacing the system that prevailed before.
Yes.
So we are, as it were, in this court, frozen in 2007, and so let's just focus on that. So now I'd like you to perhaps just turn over the page that we have there, and I can call up on the screen the next map, which is at tab 2, which is similar to the last map. It's an overview of the area, and that's 0024 0002. And does the registry have a folder? Do you have our folder? It might assist if you did, I suppose. You'd have the numbers, wouldn't you?
Monsieur le Président, si je peux.
Mr. President, with your leave, I do not need any hard copies because I have all the documents in digital format, except you're using a document which is not recorded in the e-court system.
I think Ms. Hooper was only trying to help, see if it's easier for you to more quickly.
All right. Now, if we look again at this map, and we go somewhere to the right of the page, just under halfway up, we have Nakuru. Have you found that?
Yes.
Nakuru is the capital of the Rift Valley region as it was. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's roughly halfway between Eldoret and Nairobi.
Yes.
And there again, just so we have an overview, if we look to the other side of the page where water is indicated, we have Kisumu, or Kisumu, I should say. Is that right?
Yes.
And that traditionally has been the territory of which tribe?
Luos.
And the water there is just an inlet of the mighty Lake Victoria. Is that right?
Yes.
And 300 kilometers or so the other side of that lake is Uganda. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to look at one other of these maps that we have, because I'm interested in the area of Kapsabet and Nandi Hills, and I just want you to look at 0024 0006. At tab 6.
It appears this is better viewed on screen, isn't it?
I suspect so. Indeed it is. And indeed, can we go into a closed session just for one other question I have? Just for, let's see.
Closed session, private session, please.
Nous sommes en audience.
The court officer, we are in public session.
Thank you.
Nandi district was divided between Nandi South District and Nandi North District. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, there were some deaths in the area during the post-election violence, and I just want to talk or discuss generally that. And to do that, can I invite you, please, to look at a document which can come up on the screen, but which is also at tab 13, and after that it will be tab 14. They're documents to be seen in conjunction, so you might be helped by having the folder there. If you can turn to page tab 13, and that is 0121 3485. I should say KENOTP 0121 3485. And these are all public documents unless I say otherwise. While that's coming up on the screen, if you can look at your tab 13, we see that this is a report on post-election violence, Nandi South District, presented to the WACI Commission on the 5th of August 2008 at Eldoret Social Hall by Dr. Kalia Stephen Kay, as it states all that on the top. And the WACI Commission, of course, was the commission that was set up by the government following the post-election violence and is otherwise known as CIPEV, C-I-P-E-V, the Commission of Investigating the Post-Election Violence. Now, Dr. Stephen Callier there attests certain things, but the matter that I can take you to quickly is at the bottom, item 5, in relation to inpatients at Nandi Hills South District Hospital. He states that deaths nil in the hospital. Do you see that?
See it.
Right. Now, if I can take you to the next document, and we'll call for that to come up on the screen. Actually, as I leave that, maybe if I can invite that to be exhibited as well as we go along, it might be easier. This is an OTP document, which really speaks for itself.
Your Honor, there's just one question. First of all, I don't understand why we're asking the witness to confirm things that are stated plainly on a document to which he has absolutely no connection. He hasn't testified on this matter in the examination in chief. He's not able to authenticate this document. I understand it is an OTP document, but nonetheless, at best, I think it should receive a mark for identification. But as for other documents of the same nature, I don't see why Mr. Hooper is showing these documents to the witness.
Mr. Hooper, there is no obvious reason to receive this document through this witness unless you make it so.
Well, would you agree that the Nandi Hills District Hospital is the hospital that covers, what area does it cover? Perhaps you can help us with that.
Nandi Hills? South Nandi.
Yeah. All right. Does what towns come within that district?
There is Katuma, If it is Nandi South, there is Kaptuma, Nandi Hills. And there is Maraba.
Nandi Hills itself, does that come under it?
Nandi Hills is an urban center.
So it's in Nandi Hills itself. So this area deals with would it include Kapsabet, for example? I assume not.
Kapsabet was in the north of
Right.
Nandi.
So we're just dealing with Nandi Hills. And looking at this, would you accept that there were no deaths from what you know, in the hospital?
Wait. Counsel, how is this witness in a position to answer that question?
Well, have you heard of anything that would contradict the statement that would appear to be the statement of Dr. Stephen Callier to the WACI Commission?
What I know about Nandi Hills, I could only
Right, let's do this, witness. This document says that there was no death in the hospital. You see it under item 5, indicated. Counsel is trying to find out from you whether you have any reason to think that this information is wrong.
Your Honor, if I may, just to help the court, I noticed that the witness was indicating, I think we should go into private session if possible.
All right, let's go into private session.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
The court officer, we are in public session.
Thank you. Witness, we're in public session. Counsel will ask you questions, and if you think your answer might reveal your identity, just signal and we'll go into private session.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
And we're dealing with a document, prosecution document, from the Ministry of Health, Nandi North, report on post-election violence, part of a document that was exhibited to the WACI Commission, the inquiry, and we've looked at the top, which refers to one mortuary, which also serves Nandi South, and I've taken you to the second page and to a table at the bottom where we have deaths, and then we have a table with, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deaths related entries, and for the court, not for you, paragraph 157 of the prosecution pre-trial brief refers to, quote, in Nandi district, Kapsabit town and Nandi Hills town, attackers killed at least 7 people, unquote. And we see 7 people named here, or 7 items here of deaths. Now, if we look at those recorded deaths, the first column has date died. Do you see that, Mr. Witness?
Yes, 27th January 2008.
The first one is, we'll just recite the deaths, as the dates as we go down. The first one, 27th of January 2008. Second, 21st of January 2008. Second, 22nd of January 2008. Next, the fourth, 40th of January 2008. The next one, there's no record. The one after that is the 12th of March 2008, and the final and 7th is the 23rd of January 2008. Now, leaving aside the fourth says the 20th. If that's maybe me or the transcript, anyway, it's the 20th.
I think what your colleagues may be whispering is that you had repeated second twice, instead of the third being the 22nd of January 2008.
I thank you, Honour. So anyway, we have these 6 of the 7 deaths that are related here are deaths that occurred after on or after the 20th of January 2008. Do you see that that's what it relates to, Mr. Witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if we look at the next column, it has names. I'm not concerned with the names. And the first 4 relate to a place called, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, I suspect, but Bonjogi?
It says yes, Bonjoge, so we can accept it as Bonjoge.
Bonjoge. Do you see that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, where is Bonjoge? As I've looked on the maps we have, but I haven't found it.
Bonjoge is in the western side of Nandi, southwest of Nandi. Currently, Aldai constituency. At the border, it's towards the western province.
So it's west. It's towards Kisumu.
Towards Kisumu, yes, I can say so.
Right. And how far from Kapsabit would it be?
Possibly 25 kilometers. Possibly.
And is it in fact on the very rift, the edge of the Rift Valley?
Towards formerly Western Province, currently Vihiga County.
Thank you very much for that information. Right, now, if we turn to skipping the fifth entry, we look at the remaining two. We have a date in March, and that's just says uncollected. So the body must still be in the morgue there. Up to date. Meteti. Where's Meteti? Is that in fact south of Nandi Hills?
Siona.
And how far south of Nandi Hills would it be?
Nandi Hills, I can say it's probably 25 kilometers.
And in which district is that?
South Nandi.
And then the 23rd of January entry, that again is, that's Kabujoy. And Kabujoy, I think we can see on our map 1. We don't need it up on the screen. We look at map 1. You can turn that up. If you can go to Kapsabit and go south along the road, eventually you come to Kabujoy. Have you found that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And again, how far would that be from Kapsabit, approximately?
It could be 35 kilometers.
Right, thank you very much. Now, there's one remaining entry, records not found, and that says Kapsabit Municipality, age 16, male, and cause of death, gunshot through the chest. And perhaps we can go into closed session for my next question.
Private session.